What she did to me. She just hit me right now. See what she did to me. This is me. This is me bleeding. This is me bleeding. This is me bleeding. This is me bleeding. Yeah, that's me. That's bleeding. She just did this to me right now.
What's going on? So she can't stay here. Hey, God.
Hello, everyone. Good day to you. Hope you're doing great today. My name is Ifoma Blessing, aka IBLOVE, and I'm here today with Dorcas.
Hi guys, nice to meet you again.
So today we're going to be talking about a touchy subject. We've been hearing several news about some people who are victims of this, and we thought it wise to talk about it, then discuss some possible solutions to this. So, the topic we're going to be talking about today is abusive relationships. Then we'll channel it down to domestic violence. Abusive relationships, be it friendship, courtship, relationship like boyfriend and girlfriend, marriage. So, those are the things we're going to be talking about. And I and Dorcas are going to throw some light on these
Yeah.
issues and, think of some solutions, some possible solutions to curb this problem, abusive relationship, domestic violence. It's been a trending subject this past week. We created a kind of agenda to discuss about it. But then before that, Dorcas, what do you think? Like just help us talk about abusive relationships, like an overview of what it looks like, how it is.
Omo, abusive relationships is basically pain. Um, I don't know why that we have to talk about this. I feel like as human beings, if we respect each other enough or love each other enough, like just basic, not even deep love, like just basic human or humane love and humane respect, then we would not have to talk about domestic violence or physical abuse or emotional abuse or any kind of abuse actually. I don't think that it's something that people do out of disrespect, hate, and maybe you're even possessed when you think of hitting on that person because
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like people are even abusive to children too.
Yes, of course,
Adults.
of
Everybody's going
course.
through this, and I don't know why. We all claim to want peace of mind, happy this, happy that. So why are you now the one inflicting pain on somebody else? If I want peace and you claim to want peace, then why are we fighting to the extent that you're now having to hit me
Hit
or you're having
somebody.
to release abusive words at me? I just feel like it's a lot. It's a really broad topic, anyways. It
It
covers
is.
a lot,
Yes.
but we'll narrow it down.
We'll narrow it down, because if we have to talk about abusive relationships or domestic violence the way it is, we're going to take a lot of time, but we
Yeah.
don't want this video to be too long. So we're just going to narrow it down to some of the points we thought of to put down. So the first thing we're going to be talking about here: why do people stay in abusive relationships? Because honestly, personally, I can
Yeah.
never understand it. I cannot relate to why you would stay in an abusive relationship, be it emotional abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse,
Hmm.
the oga pata pata of them all.
Omo.
I can never
I
relate.
can't take even for
To
my
to be
friends.
honest, I
Like
cannot.
there will be a way you would verbally abuse me. Me and you will stop that. What
Do
do
you
you
get?
mean?
You
Like
get?
why would we claim to be friends? And I'm not talking about jokingly play
That's
or
different, yeah.
insults. Normally, everybody collect insults, but just that you're verbally abusing me and you're meaning those words, like you're seeing me as those things
Yes,
for you to
even your
call me that.
intonation.
So, omo, when you
So
say that kind of thing to somebody, that means you mean it.
yeah,
You're a fool, and you mean it. To like that means you see me as a fool. And what are we being together for? What are
do
we
you
being
get?
friends for? If you're
So
going to
why
abuse me.
are like some of the reasons why you think people stay in abusive
Um,
relationships? Some of the excuses they give.
I feel like those people who stay in abusive relationships have a lot to lose. They feel like if they are not in these relationships, they will not get or they will lose certain things, maybe certain privileges or will I even say feelings too, because some people might stay with their abusers because when they're not being abusive, they make them feel loved, or they make them, I feel like it's a type
Excuse
of
me.
manipulation. Let me
Are you
bro, see, this is a
possessed?
type of manipulation. If I'm not talking, let me talk about a guy being abusive and a girl, right? A guy can manipulate you to the point where you feel like this thing is normal. It's a fucking mind game. Sorry for cussing on your channel, but it's a mind game
Yeah,
where
it's true.
you can. There's a way someone can be.
So
You
many
can
things.
wire someone mentally to the point where they don't even understand. They know deep down that this is wrong, but they don't know. Like they're just so wired in the point that they want approval from you. They'll seek your approval on everything. And then when you tell them, guy, you fucked up, you're being mad, you're being stupid, they now take it as they start thinking, okay, maybe it was really my fault. Maybe I really did something. Maybe I have a part to play in this, and that's why he's reacting this way. Maybe I triggered his reaction. Because sometimes manipulative people, when they've done something to you, they come and tell you, this is your fault. See what you did. See what you made me do, like this is why I reacted like this. They put the blame on you. And you now, you if you're not mentally strong, you start thinking, okay, maybe I actually did this. And you can
Yeah,
get
they make you
wired,
blame
do you
yourself
get?
for
So you can
almost
get wired
everything.
to a point where this is not a norm. So you now be like, then this is when the person starts to control your actions, tell you to do this, and you have to do it so that you don't get a reaction out of that person. Then before you know, you're in a place where you cannot even understand again. But I can't say why exactly people would stay in abusive
Well,
relationships.
some of the reasons or the excuses
Excuses,
I've heard, some people, okay, let's talk about marriage now. Some people would say, because of my children, I
children.
don't want them to grow up in a broken home. It is better to grow up in a broken home than grow up
With,
motherless
do you
or
get?
fatherless.
It's
Like
better
that
that
kid is going to suffer.
yeah, it's better that your child is growing up in a relationship where, or in a marriage or a family where the mother and the dad, mom and dad are not together, than to say the dad is alive and the mom is dead because the dad
The dad
killed.
was abusive.
Do you understand?
Now,
Like,
the we are talking about marriages.
yeah,
The one I can never
my
understand,
boyfriend beat me.
boyfriend and girlfriend. Hello, hello. Like, what do you mean? Are you possessed? Did they tie you down? Even if they are manipulating you, go and pray. Like,
I
how
feel
can a
like
girl and a boy be in a relationship? You are not married, you are not engaged. Even engagement, if you are not married, you are
I,
still
I
single.
I would say
Boyfriend and girlfriend, you are now abusing each other, especially physically,
physical
and you are
abuse.
staying in that relationship
Physical
for what
abuse.
exactly?
I feel like some people do it for certain reasons, and they're not even important. These reasons are not good enough
Stupid
because
reasons, I believe.
some people want to claim that they're in a relationship. They don't want to say, oh, you guys broke up just to keep up social appearances.
What?
Like to keep up social appearances. Or maybe this
That
guy
is
is
the
rich
stupidest
and is
reason
giving
I've
them
ever
the
heard.
things to keep up their materialistic life. If they
Oh,
break up with this
that
guy, they've lost that. Same as some women in marriages. They are totally dependent on their husband. The
and
husband is the source of income for everything.
that is very bad.
The man can even threaten you. Or if you don't behave, these children will not send them to school. Or you, I will not do this for you. That your shop, I will close it down.
Women, this is a call up call. Even men, because there are actually men that go through abuse in their
True.
relationships, marriages.
Even verbal
Honestly,
and mostly verbal abuse, because I would say,
exactly.
okay, it's not easy for a woman to beat a man based
Yes,
on physical strength, but
yes,
even sometimes they can get violent by throwing things at them, hitting them,
yes,
being physically abusive. But the
yeah.
most one is the verbal abuse from women to their spouses.
God, women, we should turn it down. I
and
know women talk a lot, but then the abuse has to come down
and I'm not
because
trying,
sometimes this can trigger
yeah,
some men. And I'm not giving
exactly.
excuses
I was
for
about to
men,
say, like, you
obviously.
can't
I'm
justify
not.
that action, but then when you abuse the man verbally, you cannot now blame him for his actions when he now gets physical. Because I feel like that's how men react. Men don't really like to curse and argue and start insulting you. Their most go to is hit, slap, push, drag, and then women now go with verbal. You're mad, you're stupid, because they don't have the strength. So it's a two-way thing,
But I really do not think it should like get
and I
physical.
don't think you should
I
stay
don't think it should get physical. Like, you should not wait to that point when it gets physical.
physical. Yeah,
Once it starts with verbal abuse,
yeah,
then gets to emotional abuse,
yeah.
abusing you emotionally, making you feel the way you're not supposed to feel normally.
Unloved, unappreciated,
Do you get?
undercared for, like your emotions are not important to this person.
Like,
However, you're feeling is not his
you
priority
should
at all.
communicate.
Like, what kind of marriage is that one?
You should communicate. When you communicate this to your partner and you see that it is not working out,
They are not listening.
I don't see the reason why you should stay.
Okay,
Do
what
you
about the
get?
type where you communicated and they do something to you and then they come and apologize and they come sincerely, I'm sorry, I won't do this again, and then they do it again at a different time, maybe at like a long time span and distance, like a long time frame, and then they repeat that action and then they now apologize and they look sincere. So now how do you deal with that? Like, what do you do when this person is hurting you, but then they're apologizing for their actions
Listen,
and
there's
you
this
love this
thing.
person?
Guy, forget love right now. There's this thing.
Yeah,
The person come, okay, they say twice can be a
yeah,
coincidence. Three times. Okay, now I don't want to put a number to it, but you now you will use your head.
yeah,
I mean, you use your head. This thing happens the first time. He sincerely apologizes.
yeah.
It happens again. It happens again. It happens again.
And
I mean,
it has become a
it
lifestyle
has. Do
now.
you get? So, what is now the point of the apology? You will see, like you can perceive it that it's obviously not sincere.
Yeah.
Then I don't think when you're communicating, the person you're communicating to is not comprehending what you're saying. I
Or
think you
doesn't
should
even care.
move.
Doesn't even care
Like
about
the
your
person
emotions or
doesn't care.
your
So what are
opinion.
you? What exactly are you doing there?
So would you advise a woman in a marriage with children to leave her home if her husband beats her?
I have to be careful with my words right now.
Yeah. We cannot advise you on what to do, but
Exactly. This is
if
our opinion at the
exactly,
moment.
yeah,
This is our opinion at the moment. Right now, what I can say is before it gets to the beating stage, it
yeah,
has obviously crossed a lot of
lines,
lines.
yeah,
Do you get? So before it gets to that point, there are several times this man must have abused you.
yeah,
Now we're talking about the man to the woman.
yeah,
You have noticed it several times. Maybe he abuses you like verbally,
yeah,
does some things that are not right, that doesn't sit right with you,
yeah,
and maybe you as a woman, you've complained, you've talked about it with him, and he is not showing any signs of correcting that thing you've been complaining about. Then why do you have to wait for him to raise his hand? Maybe you can talk to a professional.
yeah.
Yeah, you can talk to a professional. That is why they're actually trained therapists to handle matters like
But
this.
let's talk about people who are in like local homes. Therapists are for people who are educated, people that who can even afford therapy.
Yes.
Let's say a regular family, maybe average family, living somewhere in the village, or even if you're living in the city, but you're basically an average family and therapy is not even on your list. And
Then,
this woman is
okay.
going through this. Or let's say if you had someone going through this, what advice would you give them?
Hmm.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, it is actually, but I can't. You see that part about beating? I don't like. It doesn't sit right
Because
with me on any level.
this thing
It
can lead
doesn't.
to death.
Do you get? So
So I feel
that's
like,
my point. That's what I'm saying. Like
yes, a
before it
broken
gets to the
marriage
beating
is
part,
better than death.
true,
It's better that you are
true.
alive and you can
Do
even
you get?
defend your
So
children or take care of
that's
your
what I'm
children.
trying to explain. Like it gets from stages, from
Yeah,
one stage to another. Before a man beats you, there have been several encounters,
yeah,
and you see that this talk thing we are talking, it is not going anywhere. You went to seek the advice of a therapist, or
people.
if you said they don't have
Yeah,
access to a therapist, maybe you go to elderly people who are more experienced. Maybe they've been
yeah,
married for longer than you have.
yeah,
You seek their advice, and maybe you tell them to talk to your spouse for
yeah,
you, and they've spoken with your spouse and nothing has changed,
yeah.
and you are now waiting for him to beat you first. I cannot advise anybody to stay to that stage, but then eventually if it happens, you have stayed till that stage, he raises his hand on you.
Multiple
Hmm.
times, in fact.
Do you get?
Just
Just
leave.
leave. It is
There's
better to
nothing
leave.
you are doing
Leave to
there.
leave. Leave to
What?
leave. Leave to stay alive.
and then
Honestly,
and then for those that are in relationships that are going through this,
guy, do I even
I
have
don't
to
think
advise
I
you?
don't think you're at the point where you should be suffering from this thing.
Do you get?
You have no business collecting beating from your boyfriend.
Boyfriend. I've seen
You're
so
not.
many
Do
relationships
you
like
get?
that.
Yes.
I've heard, I've seen on social media. That's crazy, honestly. Honestly,
Seriously.
I cannot understand why people stay in abusive relationships. Because some people will give excuses of like their children, but if you are not married, I don't have any advice for you. If you cannot use your head
And
to
even
reason for
if you're
yourself,
married, I
that
feel
is your
like your children
business.
would understand if you had to
Exactly.
leave that marriage
Exactly.
for
Then
them.
another thing, an advice to ladies, don't always be 100% dependent
Dependent
on your
on,
partner
because you use that as an
as a
advantage.
leverage. Yes, he would
Exactly.
use that against you definitely one day, no matter if it's a St. Paul.
Hmm.
One day, now one
When
day.
the man tell you you're not self-sufficient,
Do you get
you're not this, you're not that,
you are
and he now uses to insult you.
100% dependent on
It can even be
somebody?
situation that maybe the reason why you're not even working is because of him, for whatever reason, or because of the children. Or maybe sometimes they might even be the one to tell you, okay, don't work, I'll take care of you, I'll do this. Don't fall for it to sit.
It's a trap.
One day, you use it to insult
It's
your
a
life,
trap.
and you'll be
Okay, even if he
wondering,
says don't work, like don't go to work,
yeah,
he doesn't want you to work in an office, an
you can have
organization.
a
You can
business.
start up a little business, even if it
The
is
littlest thing
you get
is better than nothing.
nothing,
That you're waiting for a man to give you everything,
everything,
hair,
even
clothes, food.
toothpaste. You are going far to hair is plenty. Toothpaste,
You can't do that for yourself. He's
toilet
giving you
paper.
allowance and all
Oh,
that, and he's basically in control of your life. And
exactly. So don't
that's
give any human being 100% control of your life, because when you are wholly dependent on somebody like that, they would fail you one day. Something would happen. No human being is perfect.
exactly,
Do you get? So women, don't be 100% dependent on a man. Have something doing for yourself, no matter how little it is,
yeah,
because this is one of the greatest excuse most women give. If I go now with my children, who's going to take care of them? What do you mean? Are you
exactly.
crippled? Even crippled people are doing things these days.
Even if he
Move.
leaves the children with you and tells you to pack your things with your children and go, you can still make
Start
it.
up something. Start
It
up
might be
something.
difficult,
It's better to
definitely,
be
but
alive.
ah,
Okay,
hey,
look at the cases that have happened this year.
yeah,
We heard of Osinachi. Was it this year or
yeah. It
last
was
year?
this year
It
now
was early this year. Now, Osinachi, the gospel singer, if you don't know
that
of
we
her,
know
you
how.
can Google her.
Ah,
She was one that sang Ekwemi. She was in an abusive marriage. And now she is 6 feet under the ground.
a promising soul is dead.
6 feet under the ground. And for what? You want to be there for your kids. You don't want to give
Break
people
the
the
whole, or you don't want
impression
to
that
go through that
you are
stigma of
leaving your
being a
marriage.
divorced woman. Like,
Like,
what is that?
what people will always talk. Now you died because of this. People are still talking. Do not wait till it gets to that point.
You
Okay,
get,
recently now, was it just this week or last week?
yeah, last week,
IVD's wife is late. She was in an abusive
marriage,
marriage.
same
What
problem.
for?
Another person is dead, and these are like people that we are hearing about.
Do you get
Imagine the
the
hundreds
people
and
that we are not
thousands
hearing
of people
about
that have died without anybody knowing, just
knowing?
gone, erased from life because their husband was abusive. I
There's,
know of a lady that died on my street, like my neighborhood.
you see,
The husband beat her to death.
can you
Like,
imagine?
how wicked can a man be to beat you to death?
Like,
And this is not a first time thing. This is something that has happened over and over again. Why did she not leave? Who knows? She probably gave
that
herself
is the why
excuses,
we
gave
are
herself
talking.
reasons
You
of why
get
not to leave. But like, no reason is good enough.
no reason is good enough. The why is what I can never understand. There is no reason to stay in an abusive
Yeah.
marriage. Please,
You
oh,
can have
leave
hope
to
that he will
live.
change, but you deep down your heart, you know that
You know that this person is not going to
this person is
change.
wicked and he will never change. So please run for your life.
Move. Then the next thing we're going to talk about here is there really a way to handle abusive relationships?
Yes, I would say there is, because I think I've seen cases of a man who beats his wife, and after a while, or after some measures that he took, that stopped. But I don't think the abuse totally stopped. I'm sure the physical abuse stopped completely, but the verbal abuse, the emotional abuse was still there. So I feel like some ways to handle this, it doesn't work for everybody. You can speak to people who are, and I feel like a man will only listen to someone who is above him.
Yes.
Taking it to your family might not be the proper solution. He might not stop, he might not change. He might stop for a while and then start again. But I feel like if you know someone who can order him to stop,
Yes.
you can be a pastor in a
Yes.
church that he is, a pastor that you know will take the matter seriously, you can stop. I feel maybe if you can speak to his own boss, like maybe his boss at work, if they, although he might be like, okay, why do you take my matter outside? But I feel like that's one way that a man will listen. If he's someone that listens, he can change if somebody advises or somebody puts him under control. Like, stop this. If you do this again, then I'll take this measure. Because I feel like some women are defenseless. They don't have anybody. They don't have nobody can even arrest the man and say,
Yes.
I'll hand you a police case.
And I feel like women who really go through this are women that are from, poorer backgrounds
Yeah,
than
exactly.
the man if
Yeah.
he's more abusive, because he feels like
Nobody can
whatever
do anything.
happens, nobody, you don't have
You don't have
anybody
anybody.
in your
Exactly.
family. So who is going to come and talk to
Nobody.
me? So do you get? So there are actually measures. Communication helps.
And
But then
speaking to people help too.
yes, communication helps. But speak to the right people.
Exactly.
Speak to the right people. You can go and tell it to one of your friends now that does not have any good advice to give.
No,
They'll
that
give you wicked advices and it will scatter your home the more. So speak to the
the
right
right
people.
people. Yeah.
It's either you go to a therapist who is well trained to handle cases like this,
Yeah.
or you go to a pastor, like
In
she
church.
said.
Yeah. That's
If
like
the
the only proper solution.
Yeah, you
Because
go to a pastor, but the one about your boss at work, I don't really know about that. But
yeah.
then if it
It
gets
depends
to a
on
point
yeah.
where you have to, like you really have to, then you go ahead and do that. Then if you see that communication is not working, prayer is not working, you've tried other measures possible, they are not working, I
Yeah.
think you should move away.
Exactly.
Move away, because there's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
Move away. Then the next thing here we have to talk about, do people really see the red flags from the onset? Do people
Hmm.
really see the red flags from the onset?
I mean, there would be red flags, definitely. But sometimes I feel like sometimes there won't be red flags.
You think so?
I think so.
Listen, if you are a woman who is really observant,
Yeah.
no matter how hard that man, let me not say nigga, no matter how hard that
Yeah.
man tries to hide
Hide it.
that bad place, at some point you
You
will
see
see it, it will come up.
to show.
It would come
And that's
up.
another thing. I feel like people should not rush into marriages because
Yes.
this men can pretend. Though. Even women can pretend.
Yes, everybody pretends, especially
People
women.
and they
Sef.
can hide their bad character. So if you don't
Yes.
give your courtship or your relationship a long period of time to a certain extent, you might not see those things. And even if
Yes.
it's a short period of time, if you utilize that time well, you will definitely see it. One thing my mom told me, she said, if you're with a man that you want to get married to, push that man to the wall and see what he's going to do to you.
His height, like the height of it. What?
See the worst thing forget anything. If the relationship is spoiled at that point, they know it's not for you.
Yes.
Push that man to the wall and see the extent of his anger. See the extent at which he's willing to go to hurt you or to do back or to end just to see.
Yes.
If not, if you don't do that, you will go into a marriage blindly and then you will not see. Because once the marriage is sealed, everybody now relaxes.
Do you get?
You will see me now, I will see you now. That's
See finish.
and men feel like, okay, as a woman, you cannot leave this marriage now. And me and you will die here. They will start behaving anyhow. So I feel like in the period of the relationship, if you cannot see a red flag, this man looks perfect. If he looks like he's good, push that nigga to the wall. He will show you. Let me tell you, nobody can hide their true colors for long. First part of relationship is sweet, honeymoon, you are enjoying. But it gets the point where see finish when they enter. Push him at that point and see whether he will walk away from that situation or if he's going to hit you or if he's going to get the beast will come out.
Exactly. Know
So,
the height of his anger.
Yeah, so you might not really see the red flags, but if you search for it, you will
You
find
will. You will. Don't just look for the sweet sides, because only love cannot hold a marriage.
Exactly.
Only love cannot hold a relationship. There
Exactly.
are other things.
You can even be loving him, he'll beating you. Omo, fam, you have to know what you're getting into.
Yes.
You need to.
Yeah. Then another thing here, what do you do when you see the red flags? Maybe you didn't see them from the onset.
Yeah.
Like you went in blindly into the relationship or the marriage.
Yeah.
You didn't see them from the beginning. When you see them in the relationship or the marriage,
Yeah.
what do you do then?
I feel like that what we've said, like you start to find a way to handle it. Then if there's no way, you've tried and you've gone through the pain, you've gone through the abuse, and you see that this man is not changing, he's not repenting, and there's no solution, nobody can help you, nobody can stop him, then you carry your bag, you fold all your properties, put inside one big box.
Even if you cannot carry
and
all
you
your
run.
property, just move
Carry your
away.
slippers. Because see, human beings can be very wicked. Sometimes when somebody wants to act, he will not even think of the consequences. He will do what is on his mind at that time, and then you may start regretting his actions. Some people are not even regret; they will kill you and they will move on to the next woman
Listen,
or the next man. So I feel like, put yourself first.
You get. So when you see those red flags, I think you should like immediately start to tackle them.
Yeah.
But in you go slowly. Maybe you start with talking to him personally.
Yeah.
Ah, I knew you when we were dating. We were not like this. What happened? Is it my fault? Did I do something wrong?
Yeah.
Or is it you? What is going on? You will talk about it. If you see that the talking is not helping anybody, you move,
You
because you see
change. Yeah.
this IVD
Situation.
situation that happened recently. Him and his wife, they were both abusing each
Yeah, it
other.
was a toxic relationship,
Exactly,
basically.
very toxic relationship. So it was a two-way thing. It was
Yeah.
not just the man who was abusive or just the woman. So if they had started with like sitting down to talk about it,
Yeah.
and look for ways to proffer solution to the problems that they are facing, it wouldn't have gotten to this extent of someone
I know
dying.
people would say,
Do
oh,
you
she
get?
killed herself, basically. But I feel like
But because she was trying to
there
hurt
was a
the
reason.
man, she was trying to hurt the
Yeah,
man. That was when it happened. So if
exactly.
if they were actually reasonable enough to talk about it,
Yeah.
then either take it to, because they were well doing, like they were
Yeah.
doing well. They are doing well. The man is doing well. I
Yeah.
believe he has money, and he's exposed, so they know about a therapist, they know about a marriage counselor.
Yeah.
If they had spoken to that person, to help them in the slightest way, I don't think it would have gotten to this extent. You get. And if the woman had left when it was still early, I
Yeah.
don't think it would have gotten to this extent either.
Yeah.
So when you see those red flags, you try the bare minimum and it's not working
Mhm.
out,
Yeah.
you move. Live to live. I keep saying this.
Mhm. Exactly.
Live to
And
stay
when you see
alive.
red flags, don't say, "Oh, this is not." I don't think this is red. It's somehow looking like,
Call it red though. When you see red, call it red.
bro.
Don't call it
Don't
orange.
try to make excuses for somebody.
Exactly.
Don't try to make it look like, okay, this is
Because you might
something
end up
else.
regretting it.
Yeah.
So the next thing we're going to talk about here now. At what point should people leave? This particular one, at
Hmm.
what point should people leave?
Um, I would say if you leave early, they'll say, "Oh, you never fought for the relationship. You never." So I feel like you should do your best, and when you feel like you have done your best, then you should leave. Hopefully, you're not dead by that time. But when you're trying to make solution, you're trying to, you have exhausted all your possible ideas or thoughts or what to do, then that's when you walk away. When you've tried everything and nothing has worked, then that's when you should walk away. Some people might not want to stay till it gets bad. Like if I were me, if I was in a relationship where a boy born by a mother, a woman, thinks that he can touch me, beat me, I would say that's the moment I leave. Once I've seen once, the very first time, I'm not talking about maybe small, I'm talking about you seriously beat me up. That's the moment I leave. I wish I do you something back. Just so that you know that you don't have that right.
Oh my god.
So if you can leave at the early stage in a relationship, in a courtship, engagement said, if you can leave then, it's better for you. But if you've gotten to your marriage, then you try everything you can to do, because why marriages are worth fighting for. There's a lot going on at stake, you know. But if you've done everything and nothing has worked, and then even God will know you tried.
Yes, at what point you should leave a toxic or an abusive relationship?
Yeah.
Hmm. I think when you see that all the talking, because this man is not deaf, this woman is not deaf,
Yeah.
they hear you talk about this. You will sit down, you talk about a certain behavior, no changes. And then the person gets really abusive when it comes to their words. They talk down on you,
Yeah.
say a lot of bad things about you, your family, stuff like that. Hmm. And you have tried, because this is the part where she said try the best you can. You are trying, to endure all of that.
Yeah.
And then this man raises his hand one day
Yeah.
to hit you. Only that first slap, I think you should move away first.
Mhm.
Then you people can talk about it from a distance.
Yeah.
And if you see that there's improvement, you can come back. Oh,
Mhm.
don't say I'm the one that advised you. This is just my opinion.
Yeah.
This is just my opinion at the moment. So if the person changes at that point, you could reconcile,
Yeah.
and get back to the marriage, because this is marriage we're talking about. I'm not even talking
So
about
this is
relationship.
lifetime commitment.
This is marriage. Then you see that this man, you have talked,
You
and
have
he
tried
hits you, and you are still there. I don't think you should still be there.
at
He
all. Do
hits
what?
you, you move away. But then if you see that the man has, gotten back to his senses. He is remorseful about his actions and he wants to make it work. He tries as much as possible to make it work. Then you should come back. But if you see that the man doesn't really care,
Yeah.
my dear, move away.
Unremorseful
Like,
and
move
unrepentant.
away.
Throw him away, Joe.
Because you should not wait till you are under the ground, though.
Or you're beaten and they take you
Because
to
if you
hospital.
die today, guy, give that man 2 days, your body never even cold for ground. This man don dey eye another chick if another one was not there in the
Or
first
do you
place.
get?
Then you will just be in the space of like 6 months for respect, and another person will come into your home. And if you had
And
children
those children you
that you
have been trying
left
to
behind,
protect before,
another
they are
person
not
will raise
exposed the
them.
most.
And trust me, in this world that we are now, I'm
Stepmothers are
not
not there to
sure
love your
that a
children now.
woman will treat your child as good as you would.
Half
Like, it's
as
not
would self is
possible.
not possible.
You get? So I think abusive relationships or abusive marriages are not things you should handle lightly, or are
Yeah.
not things you should stay in
Or
and you
ignore or
suffer.
endure.
Or do you get? Or some people would say, we've been married 25 years.
Mm. 29 years of
Listen,
pain.
25 years, and you are ashamed to get
That
out
want
of
to
it, or
leave.
you feel it's too late. Hmm. Like, if you were supposed to live 100, or your life expectancy was actually 80, and you've been married for 25, the more 10 years or 20 years you're supposed to live will be cut short. And it doesn't, like, your children will blame you for it, everybody will blame you for it.
Do you get? Everybody will actually blame you. Why
So
did she not
don't
leave? Why
wait
did she not
till
leave?
that point
Those same people you're trying to please by not leaving will
by
be the one
not
to
leaving.
castigate you.
Okay, you
Why did
see,
you not leave?
you
Why did she
see,
not tell somebody? Why did she not do this? Why did she not do that?
you get?
So just don't listen to people.
It's
Even family members can even put pressure on you. So are you going to leave your husband's house? So are you going to abandon your children? So are you going to do? Are you
it
going
is
to do
your
that?
life. There is no
Do you
duplicate.
understand?
It is your
Like you
life.
put your life first.
Please, oh, like, this is our 2 cents. We have talked the little that we can,
Yeah.
because this IVD situation that happened recently, it has really got a lot of people talking. Even some young people are not yet married, are thinking about it,
Yeah.
getting into a marriage,
Something to
and it
worry
ends like
about.
this.
Seriously.
Like, it's really disturbing, because we have younger people growing up to see things like this. They would really wonder, is marriage
Yeah.
really worth it, when people are actually
Going through
getting to
all.
this point,
Yeah.
killing themselves in a marriage. It's really bad, though.
But I feel like to an extent, there's a lot of awareness now. I feel like
Yes,
now not everybody would take that as
yes,
before, when there was
yes,
almost as like it was so bad that women would rather die in that marriage and to say they're leaving their husband's house.
yes,
So I feel like we are improving to
yes.
an
There's
extent. Women are
improvement.
getting better.
And then I believe that if parents
Yeah,
try to raise both their boy child and their girl child better, I don't think this would be an issue in the next
yeah,
20 to 25 years, like this abusive marriage thing.
yeah.
Because if you raise your child properly, if you
Properly.
raise your son not to ever raise his hand on a lady,
Yeah,
like, even the Bible said it, raise your child in the way he should go. When
yeah.
he is old, he will never depart from it. No matter how tempted, or no matter how
Angry or
provoked
provoked or triggered
that
it is.
man is, or that woman, or that lady is, I don't think they will raise their hand to physically
Hit.
abuse
Yeah,
another person. Do you get? You could use your words, you could say whatever,
yeah.
but getting to the point where you have to raise your hand to hit somebody else.
I feel like
So
even
I
from a
think,
young age, you can tell children who are more
yes,
violent and more
yes,
prone to physical
yes.
actions. And
Plus, what your children are exposed to, things they see at home,
yeah,
movies they see, neighbors, like the environment they grow up, all these things contribute to
yeah,
the raising of a child. So raise your child properly, so that all these things will be less of an issue in our society today. So I think that's all we have to say on this issue.
yeah.
Thank you very much for
For joining.
watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something from it. Pick up a thing or two. If you liked this video, please leave a thumbs up. Thank you so much for
This
watching.
is
And
your sign to leave the abusive relationship.
yes, and do well to
Thank you for
subscribe.
watching.
Do well to subscribe to this channel. We love you. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.